Yes, yes, yes. What happens when you multiply radicals together? For example, if you have the square root of 8 times the square root of 2, what would that give you? Equals the square root of 16. You are allowed to multiply things underneath the radical sign together. And the square root of 16 is actually 4. Now, if there's something outside of the radical sign, for example, if it's 6 times the square root of 2, and you're multiplying that times, I don't know, let's say 4 times the square root of 3, okay, you multiply the numbers outside of the radical sign to get 24, and you multiply the numbers inside the radical sign to get the square root of 6. And then you have to check and see if you can simplify that, but you can't break down. 6 doesn't break down into anything that would factor out, since we remember how to do that. Let's look at some other ones here, because here's where it gets interesting. That one's pretty simple there. How about a binomial times a binomial? 4 plus the square root of 9 times 2 minus the square root of 6. Your thoughts on that? I've got a couple, but I don't know why we'll do it this way here. If it's a binomial, let's just start off using FOIL. Just like when we had x plus 3 times x plus 2, you need to follow those FOIL steps there. You multiply the two first terms together to get 8, correct? Multiply the outside terms together. 4 times the negative 6, square root of 6 is negative 4 times the square root of 6. You can't put a normal number in a radical, you don't multiply, you have to put the normal number outside. Then the inside term gives you plus 2 times the square root of 9. And then the last thing, what would I get for the final term? The two last terms is the square root of 6 times 9 is 54. To which I ask you, is there something we can do with that? Always something you can do with that. Kylie, how you could? Okay, square root of 9 is 3. So this whole thing would end up being a plus 6. Okay. What about the square root of 54? What can you do with the square root of 54? Well, the square root of 54 breaks down into the square root of 9 times the square root of 6.
Yeah.
And what is the square root of 9?
3.
So this ends up being minus 3 times the square root of 6. So now I have this, and I have this. What can I do now, mind you? Katie Nolan?
Rewrite the square roots of 6 together.
Right, because you have minus 4 roots of square root of 6 and minus 3 square roots of 6 gives you a total of minus 7 square roots of 6. And then you can put the 8 and the 6 together there to get 14. Now, my thought on this whole thing was, wouldn't life have been a lot simpler had you changed the square root of 9 to 3 right off the bat and added 4 plus 3 to get 7, and then you get 14 minus 7 times the square root of 6. I don't know why the book didn't do it that way, but that's what I would have done if I would have saw this problem. Let me see what other fun and exciting and interesting things we have for you. How about this one? Give you a chance to do this one. What would 3 times the square root of 3x? 3 times the square root of 3x times 2x, or the square root of 2x, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you a second to do that on your own. You tell me what you get for an answer. Interesting. Well, first of all, when you multiply them together, what do you get? What do you get if you multiply 3 times the square root of 3x times the square root of 2x?
What do you want to do?
I just want you to tell me what you get before you simplify it. What do you get if you just multiply it out?
3 and 6.
3 times the 6x squared, because x times x is x squared. Now, can you simplify that? If you break it down like we said, always break it down. You know, you get the square root of 2 times the square root of 3. That gives you the 6. But you also get the square root of x times the square root of x. That gives you x squared. This is a double, so you get a normal x on the outside with a 3. And underneath, you still have to have the square root of 6. So that would be it. Stop me now if that doesn't make any sense to you. This is not rocket science at its best here, but how about this one? 4 minus the square root of 7 squared. 4 minus the square root of 7 squared. Go ahead and do that little binomial times binomial thing. First thing Jacob Willman says you have to do when you see this is do what, Jacob? Yeah, write it out as 4 minus the square root of 7 times 4 minus the square root of 7. You really can't do it without doing that. That should have been your first step. And then doing FOIL, what do you end up with?
16.
You get 4 times 4, which is 16. Outside terms give you a minus 4 times the square root of 7. Inside terms give you a minus 4 times the square root of 7. And what will the last term give you? Square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is Alexandria, which is, anytime you have doubles, it's just going to be a normal 7. The square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is square root of 49, which is 7. And then last but not least, what can I do? You can combine these two. Negative 4 square roots of 7 and another negative 4 roots of 7 is negative 8 times the square root of 7. And then 16 plus 7 is 23. How many people got that? Or close to it? Or would get it next time? That's what I like to see. Confidence, confidence, confidence. Alright, we're going to stop there. Because I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I do have a quiz, and what I'd like you to do, I should actually check and see what I told. Oh, where did it go? This is lesson set 70 what? 76. It looks like 1 through 20. 76. 1 through 20. Especially since I'm racing the wrong one. But I just grade 7th grade. 76. One through 20. Let's just clock here. What time it is?
Did you not think that maybe $986,000 is a bit high for a car? Oh my.
you thinking of you sent some email from them today? Joanne, I think. I remember this whole thing last, or 2 years ago, and it used to be Kansas City 1. Or Royal or something, that's what something with Kansas City. Trying to think Kansas City 1. Well, no, that wasn't. Well, isn't, if Boomer's the username, then it's Kansas City on the password.
No, yeah, there's a.
Oh, and Malin, I was like, look at there.
Boomer, let's try to spell it right.
Now, see, if I did Boomer as a username, I would have put Sooner as a password. Boomer Sooner. And it didn't make
No, I
sense.
don't know why, but I remember, were we talking about Boomer Health as one or something? Yeah, well, that compared to work. So when did it change?
But I remember doing this years ago and Joanne changed it to something that she was doing it wrong. So I'm guessing it's sent to Joanne. I get the problem
Did it change the email or?
because I think she just done that. Because I never would have had it sent to my Gmail, I think it's sent to check my Gmail.
See, like, I was. An email, I know we went through this and I actually had it somewhere, I don't know how I got it.
And it's not in your big book of tricks. And we need to put it. Direct athletics, we might need there or not.
We had put it up in Costco. You think it was 2 years ago?
Yeah, that's my, they wouldn't have needed direct act, that makes a correction to them. Jeez. Wish I could help you, sorry.
Which wall side on?
Well, I tried to do that one, and then I see the zero.
Right, right, the zero. That's it, you got it. Draw the box. Here's how you have to set it up. If it's a sale, here's what it's gonna look like. We've got the original price minus how much profit you get. And that equals the final price. Original price is 100. 4% off of it.